2017 Chevrolet Corvette Grand Sport 3LT with the Z07 package, and this is the C7 generation owned by Johan. I reviewed his CT5V Blackwing yesterday, and he owns this, which he tracks, as you can tell from the license plate laps, and he owns a Turbo Premium Plus CX50. Impeccable taste, if I do say so myself. We're powered by a 6.2-liter naturally aspirated Pushrod V8, making 460 horsepower, 465 pound-feet of torque. He actually verified it on a DynoJet at 403 wheel horsepower and 416 pound-feet of torque. Redline at 6,500 RPM. Now, with the Grand Sport, we have the same engine as the Z51, but everything else comes from the Z06 except for that engine. And also stage 2 rather than stage 3 aero. We have double wishbone all around with transverse leaf springs because they didn't modernize the Corvette beyond that until the C8. We have electric power steering. We're weighing in right around 3,450 pounds. Now, with the 3LT package, which this has, you have performance data recorder, heated ventilated seats. It gives you more of the niceties, right? The heads-up display, and of course, Magna-Ride suspension. That's very important. But Johan has done some mods. We have AP Racing brakes with Ferodo DS3.12 pads in the front, DS1.11 in the rear, with Apex VS-5RS wheels. That's 18 by 11 in the front and 18 by 12.5 in the rear. Wrapped in Nankang CR-S V2 rubber, 315 front, 335 section width in the rear, with Recaro pole position FIA driver seats. And as always, the full mod list is down in the description. But the other thing you should know about, we have a Borla X pipe, a short shift kit from MGW, AWE, axleback touring exhaust, and actually the Corvette Magna-Ride suspension was upgraded by a software which is applicable to the pre-2019 C7s. And in terms of alignment, we have negative 3.25 degrees of front camber and negative 2.25 in the rear. Gotta say, the C7 I think looks the piece. Very angular, sculpted and muscular, good proportions. The C7 definitely feels a big generation behind compared to the C8, but it's still pretty purpose-built, and if you're a taller driver like I am, 6'1", then the steering wheel actually telescopes quite a bit, so you can get into a good position even though this bucket is tilted back. My feet are comfortable. I'm not super stretched out with my arms. I like that. I always thought it was kind of weird that they have these paddles to enable and disable rev match. It feels like it should just be a button rather than having two separate paddles, but we'll test that out. And we're going to stay in sport mode for now. All right. First impressions, we have that glorious American V8 rumble. And actually pretty sharp steering. E-Pass that right now in sport mode is a little bit light, but pretty sharp, pretty direct. Let's dial this up to track. And in terms of our performance traction, we're going to go into Sport 1, and then we hit OK or set there, and boom, we're ready to rock. Little double clutch in a second. 6,500 RPM red line. Yeah, steering instantly much heavier. They actually really make it super light in tour, medium in sport, and very heavy in track. And actually not a bad E-Pass. You're getting a good amount of load up as you turn the wheel. Not the most road texture, but enough to keep things interesting. A very healthy power to weight ratio. Magna-Ride, of course, they've improved and developed different versions over the years, but even here in this instance from pre-2020, Magna-Ride having a large magnitude shift as you go from the softer to sportier modes. And while it is a bit underdamped, obviously, for this road and for sporty driving, right now in track, feeling nice and buttoned down, getting immediate response to the suspension without it being overly damped and harsh. Heel toe, pretty natural. You may need to give a slightly harder blip than you may initially expect. The transmission, higher effort as you'd expect with a short shift kit, just because you lose some of that mechanical advantage. But very notchy, very tight. Actually, pretty pleasant to use, although as you get from neutral into the next gate, there's a lot of resistance, so it almost forces you to shift it a little bit slower, but a very sharp and you know, very precise manual transmission that's not going to cause any confusion as you work with it. Let's see how the auto rev match works. So hit that once, the gear icon there turns yellow to show you that auto rev match is enabled. And from fourth, let's get on the brakes, shift into third. Yeah, super smooth, well done. But we're gonna turn that off, rev match our own downshifts. Of course, plenty of mid-range torque with this car. You know, the more Corvettes I drive, the more and more I'm growing to appreciate them, especially when they're intelligently modded by track enthusiasts, because these cars really come alive. Now on the heel toe, I'm sometimes under-blipping because again, you may need to jab it a little bit harder, but it's a very linear throttle response actually, just requiring a bit more travel than you may initially expect. The Grand Sport is such a brilliant idea. Let's give someone a good enough engine. Doesn't have to be the most special engine we offer. Let's give them all the handling, suspension, brake mods and such, and cooling so that they can enjoy this car on the track, because this is enough power. You don't necessarily need more. You can feel the heft changing direction here. But now, having driven C5, C6, 7, and 8 generations, they each offer you a slightly different flavor. And especially when you start modding them, you can bring out the best characters and actually shape, you know, you take that canvas and you paint it in just the right way. And obviously my favorite examples are things like these, where they're actually modified and optimized for track work. We are getting a little bit destabilized there mid-corner, getting a bit light at the end. There we go. Just harder jab on the throttle, and we have a good rev match. Brakes are nice and solid, and as you get into them, a good amount of bite. Not overly firm. In fact, if I were to nitpick though, since we have such heavy steering in track mode and high effort here, if they were ever so slightly firmer, you get more congruence between the inputs, but I don't think this is going to really bother anyone. Brakes do feel good, especially as you get into them. High resolution. I'm really impressed. I think the C7 Grand Sport already gives you such good fundamentals, and with a few choice mods, you can really bring out the best. You set this up properly, get a good alignment, you know, get the right mods, AP racing brakes, and so on. And I mean, these punch way above their weight class. You're getting such a special driving experience, and there's such balance here, right? So, and you know, the way these cars communicate with you, you have a good solid chassis, you have the Magnerite dampers, and with these bucket seats, you can actually feel what's happening with you with a high degree of confidence. Now, a lot of American cars, a lot of Corvettes, they feel their mass, right? So 3,450 pounds is no featherweight, but it's also not, I mean, look, BMW M2, M3, M4, we're now much closer to 4,000. And, you know, while this car doesn't hide its weight, it feels plenty agile. It feels like it has a low enough center of gravity where it's willing to change direction, even to no surprise. And you're also sitting pretty far back in the car, which also actually helps you feel more yaw as you're pushing the car. You can feel that little bit of hint of rotation at the rear with higher resolution and sensitivity because you sit so close to the rear axle. But good inputs, nice balance to the car, and overall, the more of these Corvettes I drive, guys, the more I'm starting to appreciate them and warm up to them and see them as a really strong choice for the track enthusiasts that want something that is not going to break the bank, has plenty of performance and power, It also looks pretty good and has that, you know, naturally aspirated V8 rumble, which we all know and love. So for the money on the used market today, around 50,000 or a little bit less, I think the Grand Sport gives you a ton of good fundamentals, driving experience, and what you want in a track car. And here's the thing, you can also really enjoy it on the street as well. The way this is set up, it's not overly punishing at all. It is absolutely compliant enough, good quality damping with the MagneRide, and I'm not sure how much that software update actually improved things, but I'm very happy with it. If you didn't go Grand Sport, then the Z51, more like 35 to 40K, but you know, for just an extra 10K or so, getting the Grand Sport, I think, is the move. Big shout out to the owner, Johan, for letting me review his C7, and if you want your car reviewed, visit us on JabalAndCars.com, fill out the form on the homepage, and since you like this video, go check out this Corvette comparison right up here.